Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to know the videos that are the paid requests. This time for James. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. It could be a topic review, commentary, re-review, video game playthrough, what have you. So this is for Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate events from 2004. Now, I guess, for I understand, this is based on something that had 13 kid novels, which I guess this film was not successful because I don't think they ever did a sequel to this. It never became a franchise in the vein of Harry Potter or that stuff. Although for I understand, this has gotten a bit of a kind of a cult following, or there are people who grew up with this film. I did not. I had seen the cover, I had seen the poster, I had seen the trailers. I was never interested in it. It came out in 2004. It's from the director of Casper and City of Angels with Nicolas Cage. And you have Jim Carrey as the villainous Count Olaf, who is the stage actor. And you have Jim play a couple other characters. I see Captain at one point. The story is that you have these three kids who become orphans. You have the 14-year-old girl who's an inventor. You have her brother who has a bit of a photographic memory. And then you have their baby sister, Sunny, I believe is her name. And she's a biter. And one leads to another. After their parents are orphaned, they're put into the care of Count Olaf, who has a shithole place, and they're pretty much there to clean the dishes and do all the stuff, and there's mildew everywhere, there's rats everywhere. It's a shit show. It is a shithole. At premise, you see that Jim Carrey is a dickhead, he's an asshole, and then his stage trooper assholes, they get the fuck out of Dodge. There's a point where he wants the kid's fortune that the parents left him, so he tries to trap them on the railroad tracks, but the kids are able to outwit it and change the tracks. And from one thing, they just move from one distant relative to another, whether it be Billy Connolly, who deals with snakes, and here's a snake that seems very dangerous and poisonous, but he's a teddy bear, so to speak, of a snake. You have Meryl Streep, who gets easily scared. And each time they go to a relative, Jim Carrey is right behind them with a different disguise. One is a guy named Stefano, another is the sea captain guy. Ultimately, it ends with spoilers for a 2004 film. The girl has to marry Count Olaf. Let me remind you, it's a 14-year-old girl. So Jim Carrey wants to marry a 14-year-old girl. But it's, again, for the family fortune. Not for sex or anything, otherwise, like, what the fuck? The whole, I mean, even this time period, I'm thinking, really? You don't, maybe, I guess maybe that did happen back to the day that 14-year-olds just got married. I don't know. Or whatever this time period is, because it seems old, but then there's technology that seems a bit more modern. I don't know. While that happens, he's also doing a stage play. If you don't do it, then your baby sister's going to get plunged. It's up to the brother to stop it. He's able to do it. Jim Carrey is found out for the creep he is. And also there's this little story about a secret society that their parents belonged in. That you only get the faintest nuggets of information. I guess because that was supposed to lead into other sequels, which never happened. So yeah, this is one of those things where I wasn't a fan of this movie, I will admit. The kids, the lead girl, she was alright. At times felt a bit stilted, but alright. The brother, Klaus, I thought he came off as a bit wooden. I thought some of his dialogue rapport was awkward because of his delivery. Just didn't think he was the strongest kid actor. Hell, I thought the best one was the little baby sister. She was cute. She did cute things. There were some fun gags where, could you open this for us? And it's a can, and you just hear, ah, 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 ah. And then the can's open, because again, she's a biter. She was like the best of the three, and she had no dialogue because she couldn't talk. Jim Carrey, a lot of people like this character, Count Olaf. I thought this was Carrey very, very over the top. No. There are times I do like Jim Carrey over the top. Ace Ventura films, for example, the first, those two, and the first Dumb and Dumber. But there are times when if he pushes it even more over the line, there's a certain invisible line that when you cross, to me, it just comes off as more cringe and annoying. I think Ace Ventura walked that level well, where he has some crazy stuff, but they didn't feel irritating to me. And he still, if you watch those movies, for a lot of it, he's still sort of on the straight and narrow of a performance with these little crazy exchanges that pop up from time to time. And even his crazier moments, they still seem not like the Grinch or this. See, the Grinch and this are the type of Jim Carrey performances I'm not a big fan of. And I know it sounds weird, but it's... Maybe he's playing like a version of himself. He's going over the top. Like Liar Liar, that's very funny. I'm kicking my own ass, do you mind? But this, when he's playing these different characters, and I don't know how to word it. Again, with the Grinch or this movie, it just comes off even more hammy and even more random. Like for some fucking bit, randomness. There's a bit where he does the T-Rex for no reason whatsoever. He's like talking to the kids. It's like, rah, 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 rah. Why is he doing that? Just because. His disguises, I don't think, worked. The kids thankfully knew who he was, but it made everyone else look like a fucking idiot. I guess, to be fair, they didn't see Olaf before, but they made that's the whole point. At the end, Jim Carrey literally says, "No one listens to the children." I mean, that's the whole point of it, to be fair, so. But like the other characters he played, I guess of the three, Stefano was probably, I thought, the bit of the better one because of the way he was delivering those lines, the way he was acting. Felt the more unique of the three performances. He's the same person, but he's different disguises. I mean, the art direction definitely gives a Tim Burton vibe for it. I wouldn't be surprised if at one point they wanted Tim Burton for this movie. Just like I said, the art direction, the set design does have that feel, that look to it. Like they were going for that direction. Billy Connolly's a good actor. Meryl Streep is a good actress. They're there. Jude Law, he's the narrator. Because he is the Lemony Snicket. At a time he's typing. And there'll be times where something horrible will happen, but then his typewriter gets stuck. And he's got to fix it. I guess I thought Jude Law was going to be a bit more important and pertinent to the story. Like, how did Lemony Snicket know about this story? Because we see him typing as if he's in this world, and as if he grew to know these children or he met these kids. But then there it comes to... Because it's not just a voice narrator. There's plenty of movies where you just have a voice narrator, but he's actually in the world typing. We never see Jude Law's face, but we see him typing, we hear his voice. We see him, I think we see him leaving the building. But then he never meets the kids. Maybe that was something that was going to be in a later movie or two, or that's just how they wanted to do it. But I don't know, there's that thing in the back of my head is he ever going to meet these kids? Or even like a version? I guess not. And like the title suggests, this is a series of unfortunate events. Their parents died, Billy Connolly dies, and people think it's the snake when they prove it's not the snake. Then Meryl Streep, she gets, as you say, she runs off or get kidnapped. But then eventually she gets eaten by leeches. So there are some dark moments in this. Which I don't know if the tone was as consistent. Where you have this lady who's eaten up by leeches, but then you have Jim Carrey, the way he hams it up. And I think that's the thing with his performance here. He's trying to be funny, but I didn't find him funny in this. And I don't really get the sinister edge if he was supposed to be creepy or scary. Because of how many times he went so over the top and hammy. Maybe if it was like a Matt Frewer or Christopher Lloyd. I think Christopher Lloyd could have played this character a bit better. Matt Frewer from Matt's Headroom and The Taker of Beverly Hills. I think he... Like, I would have preferred those two over Jim. I know that's blasphemous, but I think in conjunction with what the story's trying to go for, I think there's too many times where it's like, let's let the movie stop and let Jim do his stand-up act. And then we would go... Because I believe originally it was going to be Barry Sonnenfeld that directed this. Which I could kind of see, because he did The Addams Family, which is a fun movie, and then the sequel as well. So it'd be kind of him return to that black comedic route, but then something happened, and then he was gone, and they got this guy, which I like Casper. City of Angels is there. Dustin Hoffman makes a cameo. He's a guy watching the stage play. Granted, I'd sit there going, why the fuck is Dustin Hoffman in this? And he's given such a nothing role. It's just kind of, he's just in the crowd watching. I'm like, you got Dustin fucking Hoffman. Like, you had Dustin Hoffman in here? And you're not going to do anything with him? I just thought that was a bit strange. And in the Secret Society stuff, you never find out what that whole deal was. You never find out what that purpose was, what that was leading up to. I guess unless you read the books, you'll never know. So like I said, I think the lead girl wasn't bad. The little baby sister, she had her cute moments. There's a bit where the authorities think the snake killed Billy Connolly, but then they see the little girl and this obviously done CGI for safety reasons, but it's kind of rubbing over her and like a puppy, and she's grabbing it, and it's kind of again it's like a big dangerous looking snake, but it's acting like a puppy. That was cute, mainly for the little kid's performance. I guess you will enjoy this depending on how much you like Jim Carrey's performance. If you really like Jim Carrey's performance in this, maybe you'll get a kick out of it. If you're like me and you're just more annoyed with him in the movie. And like I said, I liked the Ace Ventura films and Dumb and Dumber. I don't mind The Mask, but The Mask kind of... Again, that's sort of the weird thin line with me and Jim Carrey. It's like, I don't mind The Mask, but it's not my favorite. But I would say I like it more than this. I think The Mask is okay. Him as the Riddler, Bound Forever... It's kind of those different tiers. Like Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber and Liar Liar, he's crazed and he goes fun over... For me, that's more fun over the top. And there's certain elements that just more pushing it. Like, I like what he did as Eggman in Sonic the Hedgehog movies. So, I don't know how to put into words. I'm just repeating myself. But yeah, there is some decent art direction with the way they made the world look. There's some nice pieces of editing. I thought the sequence where the kids are trapped on the train tracks, and you go from the train approaching to them trying to figure out what to do to Jim Carrey. A bit of a funny bit where he's kind of sitting there waiting for it. He's drinking. Almost looked like a slushy, but I don't think it wasn't. But he was like drinking something and being chipper. Them trying to call on this old school car phone to a person, but you can't hear it because the train is approaching. Them trying to find a way to change the tracks. That was decently edited. I would say that's one of the more effective scenes in the movie. But like I said, the kids, like I said, Klaus, just something about his delivery of his dialogue. I said awkward, but just he didn't seem like the strongest candidate for the job. And yeah, like I said, other than the train tracks and the snake with Billy Connolly and then Meryl Streep with the leeches, you have the finale and then that's it. So like I said, all the secret society stuff, you never know where that goes. Again, that's to be left up for a sequel, which never happened. I'm sure it's supposed to be like a series of movies where Jim Carrey will come back and play different disguises and either want revenge on the kids or want their fortune still, whatever the case. Whatever. Like I said, a lot of people do like this film. It's not for me. It's not my cup of tea. So, teach their own if people like it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.